Hi, this is Ron Mael of Sparks, and you are listening to Retrospectives with John Broughton on Casey Radio 97.7 FM.
Yeah, I was expecting your call. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Well, all things considered, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are you in total lockdown over there at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, they allow us to get some exercise and go to the markets, so at least we're not, just going totally stir crazy, but, in general, staying 6 feet away from every other person and that sort of thing.
Pretty much as it is here too, yeah. It's a new way of living we've all got to get used to, I think.
No, it's I don't know, it's just, you kind of think, well, how long can this go on? But then, you just see kind of what's going on, and it could be quite a while. But anyway,
never mind. Let's talk about more positive things anyway.
Please, let's do.
Yeah, okay. I'll try not to push your memory too much, but I want to cover a little bit of history first, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I believe there's a 3-year age difference between you and your brother. So, growing up, who was the first of the two of you to show a serious interest in music?
Well, I mean, I guess I was, just because, my first real introduction to music was with pop music, and so I kind of became aware of, I guess, radio at the time before he did, just because of the age difference. So it was an interest in music that wasn't so much participating. And then when I was about 6 years old, my mother thought that I would be I should get piano lessons, and so in that way I kind of was ahead of them too. But when we were kind of more of teenage age, he was kind of more always a singer and kind of a performer than I was, and so I guess at that point he kind of leapfrogged me in the musical participation part. But we never, at no point, except when we kind of got Todd Rundgren interested in what we were doing, we never considered music to be what we wanted to do forever, and it's almost forever now. But so,
you were both actually studying in different fields outside of music, so were either of you seriously headed for another possible career direction?
Yeah, I mean, at least for me, I was studying graphic design at the University of California in Los Angeles, and I originally wanted to be a car designer, because Los Angeles was kind of the center, and in some ways it still is, of car culture, and so I really had a passion for cars and designing cars, and that was kind of what I expected to do. And and Russell studied cinema, and I don't know where that would have led as a career, but he had a major in cinema, and pretty much it was just a major in watching movies all day. But during that time, we were also just, just as a passion. We were making music with a friend of ours, Earl Mankey, and the three of us were just recording things all the time, just to kind of entertain ourselves, and it was a good experience, because we didn't start off playing live. We started off recording, and so we didn't have the feedback from an audience, saying, I love that or I hate that. It was always, just do we think that that's something cool or not? And I think that kind of thinking is something that kind of has remained, now.
Now, you began as Halfnelson. Was there any particular reasoning behind the rebranding as Sparks?
Well, there was. Albert, we were signed with Todd Rundgren's label on Bearsville, and Albert Grossman, who he was the manager of Bob Dylan and all these people, and he was kind of half of that label, and so Todd brought us to the label. He was the only one that liked a demo that we did. We gave it to everybody, but in any case, they both really had high hopes for us, and so the first album, Halfnelson, was released, and it didn't really, it didn't really make a dent in the commercial area, and so Albert Grossman thought that maybe the problem was the name, that the Halfnelson somehow wasn't a commercial enough name. So he was a pretty imposing person, and he said he really he had faith in us, but he thought that we were kind of funny, like the Marx Brothers, and so he said, how about if we call you guys the Sparks Brothers? And we thought, that we didn't want to offend them, but we thought that was horrible. So we kind of just took the Sparks part of it. It's not anything great or horrible. It's just a band name, and that but it didn't. The end of the story is it didn't really lead to any more commercial success with that album anyway.
Teaming up with Todd Rundgren, he seems like a perfect fit for you guys. It must have been a great shot of confidence for you to have someone of his status believing in you as he did. Oh,
absolutely, because we didn't, before we met him, we didn't really know anything about him other than just just hearing his music, and then also just his style, and just we were huge Anglophiles, and just he looked, even though he's American, that kind of flash and everything was something that we really identified with, and his music wasn't quite as British orientated a lot of the time as ours was, but he still, the basic aesthetic seemed really fairly similar. So it was really inspiring when just these demos that we had done in our friend's apartment. Todd really responded. Not only responded, but he really wanted to keep the essence of what they were, because they were pretty esoteric in some ways, and pretty primitive in a good way, I think, as far as the recordings, and so it was just an amazing thing for us, and we at that time, if we would have only had that record, we would have that would have been fine. We were just happy that we had a record that was produced by Todd Rundgren.
The brotherly connection between you and Russell. There's been lots of instances in the history of music of brothers having volatile relationships working together in music, but you guys don't seem to have that. What do you put that down to?
Well, we're aware of all of the conflicts that seem to go on, with Oasis and Kinks and Everly Brothers and other brother people in the same bands, but I think that maybe, part of it is that we don't compete against each other within what we're doing as Sparks. Russell's role and my role are really fairly defined, just mainly because of our capabilities, really, and then also we have we really share a sensibility as far as what we're really interested in doing. When we're working together, we don't even have to talk very much. We kind of know where we want to take things because of what we really like. We share a lot of the similarities in what we like about just music in general, and what we think a band should be and what a band shouldn't be.
Mm. Locating yourselves to England in the 70s, was that a difficult decision to make at the time, or did you clearly see that as a better option, a better fit for the music that you were making?
Well, it was kind of both, because we were really the first band with Halfnelson that became Sparks. We were all really good friends, and so it was but Island Records, we had done a very short tour in London, and Island Records really liked the singing and they liked the songwriting, but they felt that if we could put together a band with British musicians, that it could be something stronger. So Russell and I were faced with a real dilemma, because we, being a British band in a way that they were kind of feeling that we could be, was a dream of ours, but then we felt like we were betraying guys who were really friends of ours, and that also we really respected as musicians. But in the end, we decided to do it, just because, being a musician at that time, and in that position where Island Records was going to support us, and then being able to live in London, it was all just this dream for us.
Mm. Now, even though you're not based there anymore, does England still remain one of your strongest markets?
It is, yeah, and in particular with the touring. I mean, we've managed, and it's kind of even increased just through just an online presence. Like, a lot of younger people are now coming to the shows, but we're going to be doing a tour of the UK and some other dates in Europe. Unfortunately, there's nothing set for Australia yet, but the shows have done. It's in October, and nobody knows what the touring situation is going to be in the short term. But we're planning on doing on that tour, and the ticket sales have been like unbelievable, and we're we're so grateful for just for the people in the UK that have supported us from the very beginning, and have continued to be there for us.
Now, of course, your big breakthrough hit was This Town Ain't Big Enough for Both of Us. Were you confident at the time? Do you remember being confident of the commercial potential of that song, or did that surprise you?
We were surprised, and actually Russell and I had no confidence in the commercial potential. It was Muff Winwood, the guy from Ireland, that actually signed us, and then ended up producing that album, and he really responded to that song, and to us, we liked the song, but we thought it was maybe too weird for to be a single that could be on the radio, but he said, no, that's got to be the one. You have to challenge people like that, and he was right. I mean, it was one instance where we were more conservative than in kind of our feelings than somebody from the record label, but it turned out he was right.
Now, people who maybe don't have a wider knowledge of the band would probably slot you in that one-hit wonder label. Is that been a source of annoyance for you over the years?
Well, I mean, not really, because we've managed to have. I mean, we don't kind of judge ourselves by the commercial success. It's more the longevity and the strength of the following that we've had, and the fact that we have 24 albums, but we have had other hits. It's just that the hits have kind of come in different areas at different times. Like a song, When I'm With You, was really popular in France, and
down here too.
It wasn't. Oh,
yeah, it was top 10.
So I mean, those kind of things have happened, and you always, and then When Do I Get to Sing My Way was, in particular in Germany. We spent a year in Germany just doing, promotion and concerts and things off of that one song, and and that album as well, the Gratuitous Sax and Senseless Violin. So we have had commercial points along the way. It's just they've never been a kind of a worldwide thing. I mean, the closest in the States we've ever had, that was a song called Cool Places that was fairly popular here with Jane Weedland, but that whole kind of 80s period is not all that well known in other countries. So, I mean, at the time when this town came out, there was a lot of pressure, and then thoughts, well, they haven't been able to kind of follow up on that in as strong a way as that song, but that feeling really, and it has to affect you in some ways, and also the pressure of that. But over time it's disappeared, and it's still a song that we try not to pander to audiences so much, but live we've continued to do that song. I mean, partly just because musically we really enjoy playing that, but also that there are people, and even younger people now that know that song. So it isn't like kind of a anchor around your heads or whatever. Just it's we kind of felt liberated after a while that it isn't just the one song.
Now, around the time of that success, you were a lot of people were labelling you with that, amongst that glam rock movement, which was big at that time. Did that sit comfortably with you?
Not especially. I mean, we never really, we always been kind of lumped in with different movements, like synth pop things and new wave and all, and we've never really felt a part of any of those movements. I mean, there were things going on simultaneously, and there were elements of what we were that kind of fit into those categories in a rough way, but we never really identified as a part of any of that, and especially with the glam rock thing, because there were so many. We just felt that we were, it was running simultaneous to what we were doing.
Now, your on-stage persona, Ron, much has been made of that over the years, the minimal movement, expressionless. Is there a particular inspiration or reasoning behind that, or did it just happen organically?
Well, from the very beginning, when we were in Los Angeles, and it was the five of us, and so we were all big fans of British bands, and we kind of tried to emulate the Who and the Kinks and all, and the Move at the time. But as a keyboard player, it was really difficult for me to figure out how to be that dynamic on stage. And I don't like. I'm not a big fan of the kind of Rick Wakeman kind of showmanship kind of thing. But I was trying to figure out just an alternative way of performing on the keyboard, and so it kind of came naturally for me to kind of move in the opposite direction and be really stoic. And I've always been also just a really big fan of silent comedians, and in particular Buster Keaton. So I realized that even that there are very subtle things that you can do that can attract as much attention as somebody that's being super hyper. And when we first moved to London and we had that early success with This Sounding Big Enough for Both of Us, we were on television a lot, and that was kind of the area where I was able to kind of compete on a equal footing to all the flash that was going on around me. Just close-ups were things that that were a strength for what I was doing. So it was just a fortunate thing with that as well.
Yeah. I was just reading this morning your current bio that was sent to me by BMG, and they describe you guys as the ultimate "why weren't they huge" band. Is that a question that's played on your mind much over the years?
In a certain sense, yeah. Because we do feel that just for what we've done, that there should have been more kind of a wider following for what we've done. But then the other side of it is, we're so lucky that we're doing what we're doing now, and kind of with no restrictions on what we're doing, and are able to have so many albums and people following us, and new people. So you would like to be more popular, but then maybe it's defensive or something. But we kind of think if we had a huger made a huger impression, that maybe we would have not taken what we're doing as far, that we wouldn't have had the motivation to kind of just keep going and kind of prove a point that what we're doing is something that is a part of modern pop music. I mean, it becomes really more and more difficult, just to kind of, the whole writing process has always been difficult, but it's so just the feedback that we get from fans and all, it makes us feel like we've had tremendous success.
Now, you've worked with some notable producers through the years. We've already mentioned Todd Rundgren and Muff Widwood. Giorgio Moroder was another one who had great success in that disco era. How did you find him as a collaborator?
He was really great, because we were very fortunate, because he was looking to work with a band, and so we kind of came along at the right time when we approached him, and that album that we did with him, the Number One in Heaven album, it really was just the three of us in a studio. I mean, it was at the time before there were synthesizers that kind of could be done, really portable, but it was just a room of all of these things lighting up, and an engineer, but basically it was just the three of us, and so we had a really good musical relationship, and it was also one where none of us really knew exactly where the whole thing was going. I mean, we wanted to work with him because we kind of felt that we had gone as far as we could with a band format. I mean, obviously we've kind of shifted back, from time to time since then, but at that time we really wanted to see if there was another way of doing things, and Georgia was, the best at that kind of electronic sound being used in a pop music way.
Yeah, to more recent times, outside of Sparks Records, you've also been involved in other projects, musicals and film scores. How important has that been to have a different creative outlet for your music?
It's really been important, because I think we've been working actually over 8 years, and it's kind of finally it's pretty much finished now. But the Annette project that Leos Carax is directing, a project that we wrote, and it really helps. I think each one helps the other. We're able to kind of bring a pop sensibility to some things within the film narrative music, but then it also really helps to be doing the film work not always necessarily just for any specific musical thing, but just the idea that you become excited again about working within the restrictions of pop music, 3 and 4 minute songs, and we both, Russell and I, have a real passion for pop music, and just when we're kind of taken away from that for a while, it kind of, your hunger for working in that area kind of grows stronger. So it's been a positive thing both ways.
I imagine it'd be a much different challenge for a songwriter to write specifically for a film project away from your own work. Did you approach the writing process any different?
Well, I mean, we actually had come up with a story. It was a story that we and written some music that we were going to do as the next Sparks album, and so even though it wasn't discrete songs, they were pieces of music that, when taken together, created a story. It's a different process in one way where you have to kind of that you kind of can't just stop after each song and then start from zero. That each piece of music has to have kind of a flow to it into the next thing, and also convey a certain thing as a part of the narrative of the film. So it is a different way of thinking, and then also just from the instrumental side, you have to kind of have a lot of different kind of variety of sounds that can convey emotions that maybe are things that are different than what you would be doing in 3 and 4 minute pop songs. So I really enjoyed the process, and I think people are going to be knocked out with the film, at the point where movies can get shown again, with the net. And Leos Carax is just such a great director, and Adam Driver is one of the leads, and Marion Cotillard, and they were both just fantastic and perfect stylistically. Is with their vocals, that was a key thing, where we didn't want it to be overly, like Broadway kind of overly emotive, that sort of thing. That we wanted it to be naturalistic in the singing, and both of them are amazing actors, but just as far as the singing, they did a really incredible job.
Now you've found yourselves back with a major label again with BMG, and they seem to be incredibly supportive. How did that all come together?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, probably was a managerial move that got us there. I mean, we had actually been with BMG back in the 90s, but they kind of have a new regime, and they just they responded to it was the Hippopotamus album, and they just our manager, I think, just approached them. We have an English manager, and she went to them, and they kind of understood what we were doing, and they were fans of the music, and you're always kind of wary of being with a large company, just for a few reasons. One, just getting lost in with there being so many other acts, and then also maybe that there might be restrictions on what you do. But they've been so incredible as far as encouraging us to both for the music and then also the artwork, just that supportive of what we've done, that we couldn't be happier.
Now there's a brand new album about to be released. I've only just heard it literally for about an hour ago for the first time. BMG were good enough to send me a link this morning. What can you tell us about it?
Well, it again, this was kind of inspired by just having worked so much on the film work, that we really felt inspired again to do songs, and so there isn't like any kind of special theme musically or a concept behind it. I mean, it really was just that we really had a passion to get back into doing Sparks songs, and so there was a period where there were a lot of business things going on with the film. We had almost a year's worth of time to work on the album, and it kind of came together pretty smoothly, and I don't know. We really feel passionate about it. We're really looking forward to playing the songs live as well.
Yeah, like you say, it doesn't seem to be a recurring theme through the songs, but your humour is still very evident in the songs from what I've seen on my first hearing of it. How important has been maintaining a sense of humour for you in music?
Well, I think it's really important. I think it's one thing that kind of sets pop music. I mean, there is humor kind of in every genre, but I think in pop music there kind of is more of a way of using humor within the lyrics of songs. It's just that it's important also that you aren't defined as kind of a comedy act in a way, and so hopefully the humor in the songs, there's another layer underneath it that is kind of has more kind of pathos or something that and emotion, that where it isn't just kind of a one-line joke, that there is kind of another side to the meaning of the song than just the humorous part, because you don't want to be dismissed after one listening that that's funny, and then it kind of moving on, that you want something that really clings to a person and that they can kind of hang on to.
Mm. What about work ethic, Ron? You and Russell have always struck me as types with a really strong work ethic. Has that played a big role in your longevity, do you think?
I think so, yeah. I mean, we work, we haven't worked in the past 2 weeks just because of the whole social distancing thing, but we in general we work every day. I mean, Russell has a studio at his place, and I'm either working here, writing at my place, or I'm more often going to his place and recording, and so it's really important, because it's kind of a habit that you have to continue, because I don't know, we do feel driven somehow to, maybe it's partly that we just consider what we do a cause, and that we want to be faithful to a certain kind of mission that we feel that we're on, and so we do really work hard, and we're lucky in the sense that we also enjoy what we're doing, even at this point. We don't feel weary or that we need to kind of mellow out and look back on things. I mean, we're always trying to push things.
Mm.
And I'm hoping that this can kind of come, that the situation now will at some point in the fairly near future will improve, just so that I can start working at Russell's place again. But who knows?
Yeah,
I might have to disobey the governor of California's orders and drive over there and start working again.
Well, a lot of your fans would consider your work an essential item, so maybe you can use that as an excuse.
There you go. Okay. Yes, I'll mention that you said that.
Yeah. And just before I let you go, Ron, I believe there's a documentary in the works on Sparks that we may be getting to see soon.
That's right. Edgar Wright has done a documentary on us. He we've always been really big fans of his work, and he approached us after one of our shows, and we were, it was one of those things where we, kind of went, wow, and he wanted to know if we would be interested in having him doing a documentary, and we'd had other people approach us in the past, and we never, felt either the trust or the admiration for what they were as a director, that sort of thing. But with Edgar, we really said yes immediately, and so he's been working on this for a couple of years, and there's now a 3-hour edit that he's done, and he's going to try to do the plan is for it to have some sort of theatrical release as well, and so he's going to try to do a second version that's a 2-hour version, but it's unfortunate because we were planning to go to London and right about now, and he was going to show us the latest version because we didn't want to see it with a link on a computer. Just we really wanted to see it in a theatrical setting, and so but we might have to resort to that if this goes on too much longer. But in any case, the film is pretty much done. They're still doing a little bit of tweaking on the editing, but he was incredible. He followed us around. We went to Japan and Mexico City, and then he shot a big show in London and Los Angeles, and so it's really comprehensive, because the other thing is we didn't want to have a documentary that was complete nostalgia, that we wanted it to be fairly apparent that what we're doing now is vital and in a different kind of way, but as vital as what we'd always done, and he was totally into that.
Fantastic. Well, there's something to look forward to, and with the new album as well, there's plenty to keep your fans entertained, even if they can't get out their houses to go and see you.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
I say there's still a lot to look forward to for fans this year, even if they aren't fortunate enough to be able to see you live because of the current situation.
Oh, yeah. Well, hopefully, things can iron out, but there'll be music. At least there's a way to disseminate music now. So with whatever the situation, so it's a substitute for something stronger later on. But
absolutely, yeah. Hey, Ron, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you.
Yeah, good speaking with you as well. Yeah.
And congratulations on the new album and a wonderful, diverse body of work through the years. I'm going to go and sit down and have another listen to the new one right now. And hopefully when all this is over and the world gets back to normal and you're touring again, you could make it down to Australia. I don't think we've ever had the pleasure, have we?
We actually did play. It was in 2000, and we played in Melbourne and then also in Sydney, but it's the only time we played, and it's been 20 years, so I think it's about time.
Yeah, well overdue. I will look forward to that. All the best, Ron. Give my best to Russell as well, and
I'll do that.
Take care. Thanks for your time.
Okay, you take care. See ya.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.